coming up on Carolina Week.
I began with much excitement and respect for this incredible university. And Jen, I wish you the best of luck.
It's the end of one Carolina president's term and the beginning of another. After the celebrations are over, what will student body president Jen Daum tackle first in her new role on campus?
Hurricane season is upon us. New technology is promising to give North Carolinians an early warning of when a storm is headed our way.
And it's also the season when spring fever is rapidly spreading in Chapel Hill. We'll tour campus while it's in full bloom.
Stay right here for those stories and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Always trying to understand this institution from fresh perspectives and better points of view.
Student government has a new face. New student body president Jen Daum and her cabinet were sworn in last night, marking a year of new leadership at Carolina. Good evening, I'm Brigida Mack.
And I'm Tim Nelson. Thanks for joining us. It's official, Jen Daum is now entering her term as student body president for the 2002 academic year. She'll be faced with lots of issues that Justin Young faced and tackled during his presidency. She's kind enough to join us now to tell us how her cabinet will deal with all of them. Jen, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
First of all, Jen, of course, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm just curious, first question, do you feel any different waking up this morning being the student body president?
It didn't feel any different. I was mostly just excited because my parents were still around, so I got to go to lunch with them today, and I was excited about that. But I've been working since February 19th, so it doesn't really feel that much different.
I'm sure that you've already experienced this, and Justin Young would be the first to say that it's not an easy job. Lots of things to deal with, and one of the things that you mentioned last night at your inauguration speech was the issue of bigotry on campus. I'm wondering how you and your cabinet are going to deal with that problem.
Specifically, I was referring to some incidents that happened during the campaign, especially regarding the openly gay candidate, Fred Hassagen, and an email that he had received that was basically slandering him. And I think that we just need to start to talk about these issues, and that student leaders need to make sure that they take stands, and that even in conversations with our friends, if we hear them say something that we don't approve of, that we let them know. And that's where we're going to start.
What can be done about this? Obviously, it's a serious problem, not only here on campus, but everywhere. What kind of a difference can student leaders make?
We can encourage people to embrace people who aren't like them. We can help out with BSM, with Sangam, with all the different diversity building events that they have on campus, and we can really start to co-sponsor and work with them a lot more. And also just in our everyday conversations, I think that that's really where it starts and where it will end as well.
Certainly. Jen, another hot button topic, if you will, that's been kind of buzzing around campus lately is safety. How safe the campus actually is. What are you going to do to make this place safe for everyone, students, faculty, everyone?
The Chancellor and I actually spoke last night regarding the parking situation and the proposed night parking plan, which was turned down by the Board of Trustees. And we decided that first and foremost, the safety budget will stay in place. What will end up happening is that we will have to start to cut some of the budget, the transportation budget, and none of that, I have a guarantee from the Chancellor and my own personal guarantee that none of that will come from safety. And Derek Porch and I will be meeting later in the week to discuss how we can make this campus more safe and where we can find the money to do that.
Interesting development on the parking situation. We'll be sure to keep up to speed with you on that one as it develops. One last question for you, Jen. I know last night at your speech you said that if you had a nickel for every time you'd been asked why you came to Carolina, you'd be able to pay off the tuition increase. I'm not going to ask that question, but why did you want to become our student body president?
Well, I wanted to be student body president because I see a lot of issues on campus, and there are a lot of things that I'm passionate about, and I'm also passionate about serving. And so this seemed like the natural next step for me to help students and to really empower a lot of students to get involved and make changes in their communities.
Well, day one of an entire year. Best of luck. Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Thanks, Tim.
Here are the latest developments on the night parking issue, which Jen Dom just touched on. The Board of Trustees voted to send back the administration's proposal for the 2002 Department of Public Safety budget, including a proposal to sell night parking permits. Trustees say safety concerns and the cost of the proposed permits were the main reasons. It's rare for the Board of Trustees not to support the administration's recommendation, but trustees say this was an issue-specific item.
In the wake of 2 reports of assault on campus recently, some UNC-Chapel Hill men are taking a stand and working to end violence against women. More than 180 men are wearing T-shirts and passing out ribbons all week as part of the 4th annual White Ribbon Campaign. Organizers of the campaign say they hope to make campus a safer place and to raise awareness about the problem of violence against women. One of the campaign's organizers says the recent events on campus have put the issue at the forefront in the minds of not only women, but men as well.
They start to consider that these activities really do have an effect on their lives. Everything from the sort of shallow responses, oh, well, now I have to walk you home, to the more concerned is, this is something that's going to affect possibly my girlfriend, my friend, my professor, something like that.
Organizers will be in the pit through the end of the week. Guys, you can pick up the T-shirts for free, and everyone can wear a ribbon supporting the cause. Student government officials hope that a pilot program will alleviate some of these safety issues facing students. Chairman of Student Services Anap Dasputre is leading the Safe Ride program for bargoers on Franklin Street.
I think it's going to curb drunk driving, and also, while I was developing the plan, a couple of people pointed out to me that when you're drunk, you're more likely to get assaulted or held up, and this will also curb that.
Available by utilizing public transportation. The P2P bus service has been rerouted to include 2 stops on Franklin Street. One is beside the post office, the other is in front of Varsity Theaters. The stops are printed on new business cards available at all Franklin Street bars and clubs. The cards also list taxi phone numbers.
It's a growing problem that hits people across every demographic group: identity fraud through the mail. People obtain your personal information by stealing your mail or by filling out fraudulent change of address forms. People in this area are among the victims.
So it was pretty shocking.
So shocking that Todd Campbell had never even thought about it.
Basically, I started getting department store credit cards in the mail, which I had never ordered. Sears, Circuit City, Walmart, Best Buy, Saks Fifth Avenue.
If you're not careful, someone could be stealing your identity through the mail. Campbell now has a total of 25 fraudulent accounts, with up to $3,000 worth of charges on each one, not to mention a $50,000 bill for a '99 Lincoln Navigator, all in his name.
Called them, and not only had they'd been issued, but they'd already been activated and were completely maxed out.
Chapel Hill police officer Chris Blue says Campbell is one of many.
And we're all at risk because any of us can be hit with this crime in a variety of different ways. Here locally, just in the last 6 weeks or so, for example, we see 2 or 3 a week coming in.
The reality for identity fraud nationwide is grim. According to an annual report released by the Federal Trade Commission last year, 42% of all reported cases were identity theft related, which means 500,000 people were hit with identity theft last year alone. And with an average of $18,000 in damages on each case, that amounts to almost $40 billion in losses nationwide. The numbers from the FTC are so high because this type of criminal activity is difficult to track. But it took Campbell only 3 weeks to notice that something was wrong. A post office spokesman says that makes Campbell one of the lucky ones.
It may be months before people know that their identity has been seized.
Aisha Atkinson lives on campus and is worried about the possibility of identity fraud.
When I'm throwing away, I'm wondering who is going to get this mail, and it has so much like confidential information on it. So what's the bottom line on mail identity fraud? Officials say 4 simple steps can help you protect your mail. Can help you protect yourself. Mail all your bills at the post office. Leaving them in your mailbox is an open invitation. Shred all important personal information. Throwing it away isn't enough. And get an annual credit report of your credit history annually. You're entitled to a free one from your credit bureau each year. And finally,
Fill out a change of address form whenever you move, and make sure you get confirmation from the post office regarding the change.
Well, just when you thought it was finally over, the debate about tuition continues. Some university officials want to lower the tuition increase for professional school students from out of state. The current tuition proposal could mean out-of-state students pay an extra $2,000 each year. Some deans say if tuition rises for out-of-state students, those students won't come to Carolina. Schools most likely to be affected would be business, medicine, dentistry, and pharmacy. The North Carolina General Assembly has the final say on all this when it convenes on May 28th.
High school seniors nationwide may be taking a new SAT in a few years. Possible revisions include adding a writing test, dropping or reducing the analogy questions, and increasing the difficulty of the math section. The College Board is considering the changes to the test because critics call it unfair and no longer useful. Admissions officers at Carolina say they'll continue to use the test as a factor in the admissions process. Getting into Carolina is hard, and once you're here, getting into classes can be just as difficult. But the registrar's office says registration for fall classes should run more smoothly this weekend. That's after rising seniors faced problems 2 weeks ago. The problems were caused by a system failure that prevented students from registering for nearly 2 hours. You can register online at studentcentral.unc.edu or by phone at 962-UNC1. A new system that could give us a heads up when the next hurricane storms through the Carolinas.
Stay with us, that story and more when Carolina Week returns.
I'm principal of a new kind of public school. It's open up to 15 hours a day, year-round. It has loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. We have medical and dental services right here. Our teachers have more time to teach. Our students are better prepared to learn. There's just one problem. We can't get the kids to go home.
Find out how your public school can be more like this one. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN.
There are a lot of disappointed college, high school, and elementary school students in our area, and they let everyone know just how frustrated they were late Wednesday afternoon. Students were upset when they were shut out of a speech by Jane Goodall, a famed chimpanzee researcher. Hundreds of students listened to her speech through loudspeakers that were set up in the lobby of the student union. The threat of bad weather caused organizers to move the speech indoors, and there wasn't enough room for everyone. But Goodall hopes that her message was heard.
I'd like people to come away with a feeling of hope, to be inspired, to realize what youth can do when young people know the problems and are empowered to act.
A research and conservation wildlife group sponsored Goodall's speech.
Hurricanes and tropical storms are all too familiar to North Carolina, and no matter how much warning is given, it never seems to be enough. But Carolina Week's Kelly Mahoney tells us about a new plan that may help change that.
When Hurricane Floyd cost North Carolina more than $6 billion and took the lives of 52 people, the state learned a hard lesson about being prepared. Because better preparation can come only with better warning, the National Hurricane Center is stepping in to help with a plan that would make it possible to give hurricane forecasts 2 days earlier, beginning next year. The new forecasts would be less exact and are still in an experimental phase through the end of this year. Some emergency management officials fear the public will be lax about responding to less accurate warnings, but meteorologist Joel Klein says that North Carolinians should see the forecast as a helpful tool. Not a signal to panic, but still to be taken seriously.
If it's used in an outlook and it's used in a correct manner and people know the uncertainties that are involved with it and it just heightens an awareness, then it can be a useful tool.
Because the earlier warning would improve emergency action planning, the proposed 5-day forecast could provide North Carolinians with better evacuation strategies, decrease emergency costs, and most importantly, save lives. The North Carolina coastline is extremely vulnerable to hurricanes and tropical storms, and an increasing coastal population only stresses the need for more advanced warning. If forecasts this year are successful, then earlier forecasts next year could bring a huge wave of relief. In Wrightsville Beach, I'm Kelly Mahoney, Carolina Week.
The 2002 hurricane season is already predicted to be more active than normal, so improved forecast would be welcomed.
Neat story there, but with the sun outside right now, it doesn't look like we have to worry about hurricanes just yet. What's the weekend going to be like, Jason?
Well, I know. It's felt like summertime. We've been able to wear shorts and get outside and just enjoy the beautiful weather that we've had. And is that going to stay around this weekend? That's the big question. But first, let's go to this week's weather question, which is, what is the lowest level of the Earth's atmosphere? The stratosphere, troposphere, thermosphere, or mesosphere? We'll have the answer in this week's weather forecast when Carolina Week returns.
I wonder how Silent Sam feels about guarding the university from groups of third-grade kids. Maybe he's lost interest. We haven't heard his rifle fire recently. Still, he stands, a steadfast defender of something. What is it? No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Hola, soy Mark Anthony para RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. La música es una de las cosas más importantes en mi vida, pero nada es más importante que la vida en sí. Cuando tomas y manejas, arriesgas tu vida y la vida de los demás. Así que escoge a un conductor designado.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. The beautiful sunshine and warm temperatures have made it perfect to go outdoors and have class, just like we see in this weather video here. And it's that time of the year where everyone's starting to get spring fever, and it's really hard to stay indoors and do any work. But if you suffer from allergies, we've really had a problem with that. We've had a lot of high pollen levels, and looking at the predominant pollens that we have right now are birch, maple, and oak. And our pollen forecast for this weekend will have a high pollen level on Saturday and on Sunday. If we look at our satellite map, we can see that we've had a lot of dry weather all across the United States. Over to the west, that will be moving our way this weekend. We can see some of the clouds that moved off to the east of us off the coast. So we've really had dry conditions all throughout this week, which has kept the pollen levels up. And if we look at our surface map, we can see the cold front push through, and the biggest change with that is the temperature change. We had highs in the upper 70s earlier part in the week, but on Thursday we're going to see a big change with about a 20-degree change, getting up into the upper 50s by Thursday. And then on Friday we'll see temperatures gradually starting to warm up. And if we look at our 4-day forecast, we can see just that, as a high of 63 on Friday and a low of 36. Mostly sunny conditions all throughout the weekend. We'll see gradual change in the temperature warming trend. We'll have 65 on Saturday, Sunday 67 degrees, and 72 by Monday to start off your week. If you're going to be going down to the beach, we'll have temperatures about the same. We'll have mostly sunny conditions, partly cloudy, high of 67 and 70 on Sunday, with lows 42 on Saturday and 50 on Sunday. If you're going to be going down to if you're going to be going up to the mountains, we'll see a high of 63, and on Sunday we'll have a high of 66 and a low of 39 and 46 for Sunday. If you're going to be going anywhere pretty much over the state, though, it will be very sunny, and we're going to see great conditions. So we'll see the temperatures a little cooler on Thursday, but it will gradually warm up to start off your week on Monday. We'll see temperatures in the 70s. But has anyone come up with an answer to our weather question?
Well, I took geography a couple of years ago, but I'm going to say B, the troposphere.
That's exactly right. That's the lowest layer of the atmosphere, and that's where most of the weather occurs. So,
all right, Jason,
exactly
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Swing on over to Ben now. Crowded desk here today. It's been a bit of a quiet week for the Tar Heels with all the sports teams on the road.
And the women's team is quietly heading toward a great season.
Yeah, the women's tennis team did topple another foe on Tuesday. But first, the 7th-ranked men's and the 5th-ranked women's lacrosse team both have big games this weekend. The men are going to face off against #1 Virginia at home on Saturday, while the women head to D.C. to battle #1 Georgetown on Sunday. Carolina Week Sports returns after this.
When you buy disposable and overpackaged products for your home, you're really saying, I'm fine with depleting natural resources. Pollute our air and water. Energy? Wasted. People tell you, hey, go for less packaging. Check out reusables. Buy stuff in bulk. Well, you tell them, no thanks. I'd rather throw it all away. Buy smart. Waste less. Save more.
I don't want to eat.
Come on, just one bite.
I don't like it.
Welcome back to Carolina Week Sports. Well, the weather isn't the only thing bringing heat to Chapel Hill. Tuesday, the 7th-ranked women's tennis team looked to extend its winning streak to 8 against Notre Dame. All eyes would be on the doubles teams early. The pair of Aniela Mohis and Kendall Klein dropped their match 8-5. But with the doubles point on the line, the top doubles pair of Marlene Mejia and Julie Rotundi claw their way to a 9-8 victory. Motivated by the doubles triumph, UNC downs the Fighting Irish 6-1, moving its record to 15-3 on the season. Well, it seemed like the baseball version of the NCAA basketball championship as errors plagued both Carolina and Liberty on Tuesday night. Maybe it was the excitement of the first night game of the season, or the bright lights, or the energy of the packed stadium. For the Tar Heels and the Flame looked like a sports bloopers reel early on. Liberty would take a lead into the 6th, but then Sean Farrell gets hit by a pitch with the bases loaded, bringing in Ron Braun. And Carolina extinguishes the Flames 9-8 in 11 error-filled innings. Quarterback Darian Durant is into his first week of spring practice back as a Tar Heel, and it's almost like he never left. Newcomer C.J. Stevens awaits the challenge of battling for the starting job, and along with Coach Bunting, thinks Durant's return was a good decision.
I think we've all just got to, really try to focus on making ourselves better, on improving, and just improving the team. And so, for me to look over my shoulder, I think that would be selfish.
Sometimes you just got to close your eyes, click your heels, and say, there's no place like home.
After a successful 2001 football season, many of Carolina's players are moving on, but only some are going to play at the next level. For 2 of Carolina's defensive stars, it's not a question of if they'll play, but where. In 3 weeks, Carolina football stars Julius Peppers and Ryan Sims become instant millionaires. On April 20th, the National Football League begins its annual draft, and these dominating Tar Heels are at the top of every team's wish list. Both are predicted to be selected within the top 10 picks. The average salary last year for a top 10 selection, $2.8 million.
Crazy, to be 21, possibly have 20, 30 million in the bank, it's just outrageous. I love America.
Most analysts believe Peppers will be taken second by the Carolina Panthers. The most recent Tar Heel selected that high, Hall of Fame linebacker Lawrence Taylor. Peppers is not fazed by the pressure.
I really don't get too uptight or nervous about anything. It was just like a game. Get prepared for a game. You just got to be focused for it. Come on, try to do what you can do, give it your best.
Last week, the two got their final chance to display their talents for much of the NFL brass. Kansas City Chiefs head coach Dick Vermeil came down to see what he could learn firsthand about the prospects.
Watch them, how explosive and how quick they move. Watch how they compete to do it better. Does he glide through the drills? Is he taking it serious? Is he trying to be the best he can be today?
Forced through a grueling day of speed and agility drills, The two performed while scouts and coaches clocked every move. Then, Cincinnati defensive line coach Tim Crumry gave the two Carolina stars, half his age, their first real taste of NFL life, pushing them to the limit. Despite the mental and physical burdens Peppers and Sims will face in the NFL, the two are excited about the opportunity.
I mean, you got a whole city that's depending on you to help become a catalyst in their team next year. So you have to be able to deal with that pressure and still stay focused on the job that you came to do.
Now Peppers and Sims must deal with the toughest challenge so far, waiting for the NFL to call. Now, besides Peppers and Sims, there's 3 or 4 other Tar Heels that most analysts believe will be selected in some of the later rounds.
I'm sure we'll be keeping up and following them as the draft goes ahead and goes on.
Yeah, we'll let you know in a couple of weeks.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben. Well, Brigitte, what's up with all the empty classrooms lately?
I don't know, but up next, we'll show you where the students are hiding out.
Did you know that 1,600 children are infected with HIV worldwide every day? The mission of the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation is to give children a future of hope. The foundation funds pediatric research to ensure that children are at the forefront of every scientific breakthrough. Every child deserves the chance to live a healthy life. Help give a child that chance.
Support the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599. Every 18 minutes, another name is added to the list of persons waiting for life-saving organs. In North Carolina, your decision to donate will not be carried out unless your legal next of kin gives consent at the time of your death, even if you've indicated it on your driver's license with a red heart. Share your life, share your decision, so that your wishes may be carried out for you, and someone else's wish can come true.
And I can definitely get that picture to you. I tell you what, I'll send it out in the morning. Okay, bye-bye.
Hi, sweetheart. How you hearing today, huh? Good. Because I don't think you heard me yesterday when we decided that you are not to have business in this house. You have family. Where are your kids?
Upstairs, Jim.
James, shouldn't you be in that kitchen cooking my dinner right now? Because that's your job. Do it.
This woman may not have any cuts or bruises, but she's still scarred.
Well, the dogwoods are blooming and classes are finally meeting outside. These are signs showing spring has officially sprung in Chapel Hill.
Carolina Week takes a moment to tour some of the most beautiful spots on campus. Well, some of those pictures say it much better than we could. So with that, we'll end this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good night and a good week.
Good night.